Soulsborne Games tier list. This list is written in stone and absolute. If you disagree with me, you're wrong and dumb. My tier list goes from meh, it's okay, all the way up to Dark Souls 1 tier. I bet it's difficult to guess what goes there. Here's my credentials, and without further ado, let's get this started. Demon Souls, a surprisingly solid start from From Software, and they got a whole lot right in their first attempt. It laid the foundation for all time. Excuse me. It got a lot of cool and iconic bosses, characters, and ideas that would lay the groundwork for every game to come afterwards, you know. Patches and the Moonlight Greatsword, for instance, would appear in basically every game afterwards. The gameplay by today's standards is a little simple, especially when it comes to the spells, but it's still effective and a lot of fun. Plenty of fun areas and bosses, you know. Just look at this dragon. How can you not love it? The game does show a lot of signs of aging. First off, what is the world tendency bullshit? The Dragon God boss fight turns the most awesome looking dragon ever created into a weird Metal Gear Solid stealth mission where you just have to push 3 buttons and you win. Having no bonfires means that the world is a lot more interconnected and relies a lot more on shortcuts, though it does get extremely frustrating when you get stuck at a particular area. That being said, it's still a whole lot of fun and it doesn't overstay its welcome, even though it's just slightly busted. Dark Souls 1, F tier. Nah, just kidding, it's amazing. What can I say that hasn't already been said a million times? I love everything about this game, even the absolute dog water parts like Islith. You'll just see me playing with a big old smile on my face. The soundtracks, the bosses, the locations. Everything about this game is top notch and the DLC just pushed it further beyond. It's my absolute favorite game that I don't think will ever be topped. Hell, I don't even have to say anything, I'll just let the game speak for itself. Dark Souls 2. Now, I understand that I may get a lot of hate for this, but I absolutely love this game. Everyone and their moms has talked about how terrible the game is for hours on end, and believe me, I've heard them all. I've watched all the videos. I just don't care. It's easily one of the most replayable games of the whole series. You've got tons of build variety, and basically anything you want to do is viable. If you want to be a big hulking guy with 2 ginormous swords, go for it. You want to cast hexes and go crazy like that? Why not? When I'm looking for a chill, relaxing night at home, I am not going to boot up Sekiro. I'm going to boot up Dark Souls 2. It's also probably the best entry point for new players. You know, if you start someone off with Dark Souls 1 and you don't guide them through it, they're probably going to quit. If you start someone on Dark Souls 2, they very well might have a fighting chance. Obviously the game is riddled with tons of issues, horrible bosses, and just nonsense, but it's hard to deny how many times I've replayed the game over and over again. It's big, ugly, and a little stinky, but I love it anyways. Bloodborne. This is one of the most beloved games of the whole series. It has this horrifying Lovecraftian nightmare aesthetic with a hyper-aggressive gameplay style. I think it's a whole lot of fun, but not my personal taste. Granted, I have not played the DLC, so keep that in mind. I can acknowledge how awesome the visuals are, but personally I've always liked fantasy stuff more than Victorian stuff. I also find the gameplay to be a lot more constrictive than the other games in the series. There's far fewer weapons to try out, and most of them are going to be in the late game anyways. Spells are in the same boat as weapons. Armor doesn't really make any big difference other than damage resistance. It's got a lot going for it. Trick weapons are a ton of fun. All the boss fights are so fast and aggressive, it really feels like a battle for your life. It's a great game that's going to top a lot of people's lists as their favorite, but it's not my personal cup of tea. Dark Souls 3. When I think of the Dark Souls series, I think of all the colorful, vibrant locations in contrast to the dark, depressing locations and themes. When I think of Dark Souls 3, all I see is gray. Every location and enemy seems to be gray and lacking life in any major way, which I understand is the theme of the game, is everything coming to an ashy gray end, but it's not particularly fun to play. It feels like they made the game out of obligation more than inspiration. Like, after Dark Souls 2 got the poor reception they did, they were like, Oh man, we gotta go back. We're bringing back Andre. We're bringing back Siegmeyer. We're bringing back Anne Orlando. See, we're just like Dark Souls 1. And that's another thing. It relies so heavily on its predecessors. Basically everything in Dark Souls 3 we've seen a million times. There's a catacombs area with respawning skeletons. There's Anne Orlando. There's even an area that looks like it was ripped straight from Bloodborne. The first DLC sucks, and the second one is just too little too late. It's my least favorite From Software game. Sekiro. I love this game way more than I thought I would initially. By far the most polished combat FromSoft has made to date. It feels incredible to play, super smooth and responsive. It's also the most creative and inspired that FromSoft has been in a long time, especially as a follow-up to Dark Souls 3, holy moly. And if those things were all that mattered, Sekiro would be top dog easily. But in order to do that, they had to make some sacrifices, most notably in diversity and sort of replayability. There's no other weapons to speak of. There's like, you know, the firecrackers and stuff, but that makes almost no difference. There's no spells, there's no armor. You know, you got your sword and you got your cool moves, and that's about it. Oh, that stomp move! That stomp move is the coolest move ever. And as much as I love using a katana and parrying throughout the whole game, it doesn't exactly lend well to, you know, replaying the game. Once you've played through it once, you've basically seen it all. Hell, you can't even make your character look like this. What kind of bullshit? Even with all that being said, I can't deny how extremely fun it is to play. And it's a tough choice, but I think it's going to go right about here. Elden Ring. Oh boy, last time I talked about Elden Ring, people wanted my head put onto a pike for dare speaking against it. What they don't know is that I actually like Elden Ring quite a lot. I got 100% of the achievements. I played multiple playthroughs. I have about 150 hours or more, I think. I love how open the map is to exploring. I love how much build diversity there is, the spells, armors, weapons. You'll never be able to use it all. This game is full to the brim with content. Hell, your first playthrough will probably take like 100 hours or more. And that's just the thing. I think the game is too long for its own good. Eventually it gets to the point where it gets very repetitive and you start seeing the same enemies over and over and over again. And it starts getting frustrating. Like, I swear, if I see one more ulcerated tree spirit, I'm going to drink this flask in real life. I think I come across as more negative than I intend to most times. I like Elden Ring a whole lot. It's tons of fun. The open world works about 100 times better than I thought it would initially. Like, it works really well. And you can actually follow the story for the most part, which is a first, so that's good. Overall, it ends up pretty much dead center on my list. And keep in mind, this tier list, this is all above every other game. Every other game is beneath it. So, some closing thoughts. I did not expect Dark Souls 2 to be up that high, but here we are. Bloodborne I thought would have been higher, but I don't think I've played it enough in order to sort of rank it higher. I'd like to replay it again and go through the DLC, and we'll see if it changes. I feel like if I played through it again, it might end up right next to Sekiro. Other than that, I feel pretty good about the positioning of everything else. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. See ya.